All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your good old boy JR coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. As always, it is a pleasure to talk to you on this beautiful Tuesday on the Silver and Bro Show. We are going to have a excellent show today. We're going to go over everything Raider related. We're going to go over the victory over New England on Sunday. We are back at 500 at 3-3. What does this mean for our team? Also, we're going to be talking about in between rumors as far as trade deadline. Are we going to be buyers? Are we going to be sellers? Are we going to be both? Is it a possibility that we could be both? And then we are also going to look ahead to the matchup against the Chicago Bears this Sunday. But let us talk about the Raiders winning against New England, beating the Patriots 21-17, and the defense for the second week in a row, closing it out to cause a somewhat of a turnover. I mean, they got the sack, Max Crosby below Nichols, combined with the sack to Mac Jones to end the game 21-17. The Raiders recovered the punt, and we kneeled it for victory formation, and that was the game. And man, I got to tell you, there was a lot of crazy things that was happening in that game. I mean, just a lot of crazy things. Obviously, you know, here we go again, another week. Even though we won, there's going to be fans out there that just are not going to like whatever they see. Obviously the play calling again, questionable at best. If I'm being generous, it was just a lot of weird decisions, settling for field goals instead of touchdowns again. Again, it was a very nice game. In the first half, it looked like the Raiders were just the better team. And that's the way it should have stayed throughout the game. The Raiders were just the better football team. And I loved everything about it. I loved how, you know, they controlled the first half with, Jimmy G at quarterback. The offense was going. I mean, other than, you know, Devontae getting, killed and literally almost decapitated in that second drive where he had control of the ball, and then Jabril Peppers just came in and did his thing to cause a turnover. That was just a good heads up play. But overall, yeah, and that's the thing. They played well, but yeah, poor sucks. Played well, but New England sucks. I mean, I just think it's just time to just turn the page on New England, and we'll get that into tomorrow when I'm on with Brandon as far as our predictions and everything. We will have our predictions for tomorrow. But overall, the game was going very well. The first half, I thought they were dominating. I thought they were doing everything right. I thought they were doing everything correctly. There was just a couple times where I think, they just got a little too conservative in the red zone. Again, here we go, settling for field goals instead of winning the game. And, I don't like the fact that that's, the style of the coaching staff, but, hopefully things change. It's still, we're almost to the halfway point. So really, what your team is all about at this point, and you can't settle for field goals. You have to score touchdowns, and that's not how it's going to fly. It's going to fly against teams like New England and teams like that, but it's not going to fly against teams that have a better defense and just a way better team overall. But overall, I thought they played fantastic. I thought they played as well as you can. Um, I think everybody played a good part. I think the offensive line looked a little bit better. Obviously, Jacoby Myers had a great day. Did not turn the ball over this time, this go around. So he actually scored a touchdown, the lone touchdown for the Raiders, and that was really good. It was also the first time the team has got to over 20 points in a game, and unfortunately, that came off of a defensive safety. That's what happened. That's how we got to our 20 points, for the defense to score the points for us. I think the major key issue here, still to this day, and it sucks to say this, during the game, Jimmy G got hurt. It was at halftime that Jimmy G got hurt. Something with his back that I guess he is day to day, and they sent him to the hospital to take an extra pre-measures. He came out fine, but if anything, he's probably going to miss this week. I don't know yet, but it's a shame because he was just not. He wasn't. It wasn't really much of a factor that when he left, and then Brian Hoyer comes in and throws a bomb to DeAndre Tucker. That's not a good look. So again, quarterback play is still a big issue for the Raiders, and it's still an issue. And I know there's going to be fans here saying, "Well, these games are going to be meaningless now because we're winning." No, these games are never meaningless. You got to win. You have to win. Is tanking was tanking a possibility for this team? Probably, but it just shows you because after they finished 1-3 and listening to their press conferences, I came on that Tuesday, pretty much calling out the people that were wearing the C's on their chests, from Mad Max to Devontae Adams to everybody that has a C, that big play on it. It's up to you how you want to play it. And the fact that they came back and after winning week one, losing 3 in a row, and you win back-to-back games in 6 days, no less. Because you beat the Packers on Monday night last week, and then you beat the Patriots on Sunday. It's a very good feeling to know that these players have not given up yet, and these players are still trying to play for something. And I appreciate that very much. It just shows that maybe they did hear what they have to say. Yeah, Devontae didn't have a big game, and there's speculations that he left early and everything, and I can understand why. Maybe he was just beat up and wanted to go home early. So I mean, until he says something or until something else is reported, I'm not going to look much into that. Especially after he said it himself, that he only cares about winning. Then he should be happy. I'm going to take the benefit of the doubt that something was wrong, and that he needed to go get checked out, and that's why he didn't talk to media. So there's my take it as you will type of thing. But I think for me, like I said, quarterback play obviously is still up in the air on how we're gonna move forward throughout the season. If Jimmy shouldn't go, it looks like Hoyer is going to get the start. But me personally, it's just hard. It's just hard to preach for Aiden O'Connell. He had a chance and he did good against the Chargers, but Brian Hoyer did what he had to do, and he looks like, and he's the veteran quarterback. So we're going to see how that goes. It's going to be either Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell taking the start because Jimmy G is probably not. It's going to be a no go. So there's that. I think for me, I think you would want to put Aiden, especially in a situation like Chicago where it is going to get a little chilly. There might be a little wind factor. You kind of want the stronger arm, and I think Aiden, even though Brian Hoyer did an amazing pass to Trey Tucker down the field, I think Aiden just has the stronger, more endurance arm than the two. But that's up to the coaches. Another thing that I kind of wanted to tweak at and I kind of wanted to bring up and everything. I'm sorry, but I think Nate Muti or somebody else has to take over Greg Van Ryn. As far as pass blocking goes, the offensive line did their job. They're continuing to do their job, but the run blocking is just so out of sync. It is so bad. There was one play where if Greg would have just gotten up and then took in straight to get the linebacker, Josh probably would have had a nice gain. Instead, he just stayed put and just got in the way, and there's no holes opening. And yeah, there was a couple holes that Josh could have taken, but again, it's just what was supposed to be our biggest strength. It's actually our biggest weakness, and that's the run game. And that could be a credit to a lot of things. The offensive line not getting their push, the running back just not, Josh Jacobs or anybody out there just not getting their wheels going. I really don't know. I really don't know how to feel about this, but it's not good. I'll tell you that. And then for me, lastly, it's the lack of trying with somebody else other than Hunter Renfrow. I can't imagine any head coach wanting to have $13 million on one player just staying on the sideline. I can't imagine that. $13 million on one player in Hunter Renfrow to be staying on the sideline, to be watching the game. Hell, we already got enough people to do that. And yet Josh McDaniels has the arrogance to leave him out on the sideline. It's a very cruel way to try to make a point. And I don't like it. I don't like the fact that if he's just going to be here doing nothing, then trade him. And that's where the next segment comes in, you know? Well, before that, I wanted to give props to the defense. The defense has been playing extremely well. They have been playing as well as you can play these last couple games, these last few games. And I get it. It's against teams that really maybe, they're not that good. But a win's a win. And this is what I'm talking about. This is now where I turn my attention to the fans. You want to win. You want a middle of the pack defense. But when they do it, it's against nobodies. Just take it. We've had 20 years of just, complaining. Take the victories. Take that the defense is playing well. Take the fact that the defense is showing signs of life. Take the signs that this team is maybe starting to get a push defensively. I don't know. Could it be that? Yeah, it could be that we're playing against terrible offenses. But that's what we're supposed to do. You wouldn't hear this if it was another defense, if it was the Jets defense, if it was the Browns defense. Like, oh, well, yeah, they're that's what a good defense is supposed to do, is stop terrible offenses. Good. That's what our defense is supposed to do, stop terrible offenses. So quit your complaining. Quit crying. And for the people out there that are crying that, now that with these wins, we've totally fallen out of the race of Drake May and Caleb Williams, so be it. So be it. It happens. Nobody goes into work. None of these guys ever. I'm pretty sure nobody, especially teams like Carolina and teams like that, go into work every week and think, man, you know what? I just want to collect a paycheck and not win one damn game. Because if that's the case, that whole staff and everybody has to go. Nobody thinks like that. Nobody walks in thinking they want to think. The problem is sometimes you got the talent, sometimes you don't. It happens, but that's what it is. But I want to give props to this defense, the defense that is actually stepping up. They're making the plays when they have to. Sure, there was a couple things that could have done better. Robert Spillane probably could have picked it off. Thank God Devontae Parker dropped it at the end, on that second and long where he beat Ja'Cory Bennett. Thank God he dropped it. And luckily, we got a mercy call from the refs, which is very unheard of, a holding to push them back even farther. And thank God we have a pass rusher like Max Crosby to do what he did to take on the tight end and the tackle. And thank goodness Bilal Nicholas had a moment to step up and step into put the pressure in the middle. That's what we needed. And it worked out in our favor. But offensively, I'm sorry. Something has to change. And as long as the Raiders are winning, McDaniels is not going to get fired now. And that's where I'm trying to go with this. After 6 games, I think it's pretty evident that Jimmy Garoppolo is probably not the answer. Neither is Brian Hoyer because, what is he on, year 15? He's been in the NFL and, he got drafted when I was, a freshman in high school. I'm now 32. I don't know. I don't know how long it was. It could probably have been earlier than that for all I know. It probably could have been earlier than that. So it's just, it's one of those things where, the quarterback situation does have to probably get looked at here in this offseason again, but we're going to roll with what we have. The running back situation is probably going to get looked at, but we're going to roll with what we have to have. And that's including Josh Jacobs, who, I'm sorry, you held out. We gave you a raise, and this is what you're giving us. And I get it. Sometimes the run protection is not there, and I'm not going to fault him for that. But there's a couple plays where he could have broken big and getting some yards, but instead he's just not hitting the hole hard enough, or he's being too patient. Just run, dude. Just run. But I don't know. Offensively, something has to change because the fact that Devontae had to be the decoy in this week's game is bad. It's really bad. I will give props to Michael Mayer for stepping up. I'll give a lot of props to where props is due. But the fact that Devontae Adams didn't have that much of a big impact because he was probably double teamed or whatnot. Maybe that injury caused something to where change. I don't know, but something has to change offensively. And, that's where it goes into my next point. The trade deadline's in a couple weeks. Now, I know Devontae's not going to go anywhere. I know a lot of these guys aren't going to go anywhere. But the one guy I would bring up is Hunter Renfrow. You have to make a decision if you're Josh McDaniels. The fact that you're having $13 million sitting on the sideline on one player, that's not good. The reason you gave Renfrow the contract is because you thought he can help on the slot position, but you're not even giving him the shot. And DeAndre Carter has proved that, he's nothing more than a return specialist. He's already had a couple key drops, and you keep inactive, healthy scratch of Christian Wilkerson. What's the point of Renfrow? Honestly, honestly, tell me what's the point of Renfrow then? Something has to change to the fact that offensive play calling has to change. You have to put in Renfrow. Because if not, then you're just wasting. Then you might as well trade him and try to get for something, because obviously he's not going to be no use of you here. I don't know if Renfrow was upset. I don't know if Renfrow's not practicing, or I know he's practicing, but maybe he's not putting his heart into it. I don't know if there's something going on there. Maybe he is in discussions with the team saying, hey, maybe I am done. But me personally, I think it's a fireable offense that you have $13 million on the sideline and you're not going to use them. That's just me, though. I mean, if I was a coach, I would try to use all my best players, but apparently Josh McDaniels has to know something more than I know. I'm not at the practices. Maybe he's not getting the playbook down. But then why did you give him the extension? If that's the case, why did you extend him? So to me, it's just far-fetched for me to believe that, Hunter Renfrow is going to be a Raider for that much longer. And I can't see how he could be a Raider for that much longer. If you're not going to use him, I would say trade him. And not because I'm sounding like a bitter fan, but I don't want him to go to another team during this offseason and then he kill it and we get nothing in return for him. Try to get a 6-rounder at least. We need a 6th. Try to get one of those. Trade a player for player. If the Raiders are in the market for a pass rusher, try to get a pass rusher. See if you can maybe trade for, I don't know, a defensive tackle. Maybe, somebody that can actually help to pertain to stopping the run. Stuff like that. I'm just saying, it would be beneficial to try to get something. Because obviously it's just not working. Whatever it is they're trying to do, it's just not working. So, but overall, good win. And hopefully the ride continues, as this Sunday, they have to travel to Chi-Town, the Windy City. Talking about Chicago, where they take on the Chicago Bears early morning Sunday. And from reports, from what I'm hearing, Justin Fields looks like he is going to be out, which is a shame because I enjoy watching Justin Fields play. I do enjoy his play. I do enjoy him watching him play. I do enjoy his game. And it's very hard to fault him for everything that's going on. But like we talked about on Wednesday, I think it's best for this point for the organization to finish out the season. Should Chicago be still at number 2 and Carolina still gives Chicago the number 1 pick, I think it's just safe to say that maybe it's just best for both the franchise and the player to kind of separate, move on. And it's okay. But it's just now I could see that Justin Fields is playing relatively well. Could it be a possibility where maybe Chicago keeps Justin Fields for one more year and maybe they do the ultimate wide receiver offensive tackle combo? Who knows? Who knows? That's really going to depend on the offseason. But if I were Chicago, I would keep Justin Fields and I would try to bolster that offensive line and get him more weapons because that would be beneficial because DJ Moore can't do everything. So that's just me. But as far as everything else goes, I don't know. PJ Walker did get hurt, unfortunately, on Sunday as well. So it looks like our old friend Nathan Peterman might be starting this Sunday for the Chicago Bears. That is yet to be seen. And it looks like Jimmy G is going to be out. And I think the key thing for this game is for the Raiders, they have to win this one. They have to win this game. There is no try to win. They have to win this game. You cannot. Here's the thing. The Raiders put themselves in the predicament by beating the Packers and the Patriots because now you have to beat Chicago. Now you have to beat the Giants. Because if you lose any of those two games, then honestly, beating the Packers was meaningless. And the fans are going to look at that. They're going to be like, see, I told you this was meaningless games because now we've won too much. We're out of the Drake May. We're out of the Caleb Williams situation. But I don't think we're out of the Michael Penix situation. Who's to say right now we're at 14? Who's to say that maybe all these other – because I'm looking at all these other franchises that pick ahead of us. And none of them look like they need a quarterback. Michael Penix would not be a bad consolation prize and possibly could be the best quarterback out of all three. Who's to say? Because it happened before. Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Tua, they all did pretty good. Who's to say that we don't get somebody just like that? Just, throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. But that's not here nor there. The key points to this game for the Raiders, it's very simple. You have to run. You have to be an effective run team this year. You have to be effective running the football this week. Because if you don't, it's going to be coming down to special teams out of way in a situation where it could be not critical conditions, but there could be conditions. The Raiders have to run the football effectively this week. They have to. They have no other choice. This is time for Colton, Dylan Parham, Andre James, Greg Von Rotten. Right now, Rotten play, so you get Rotten. And Jermaine Eliminor. This is where you have to guys step up. And Josh, all you six have to come into agreement that this is going to be the week that we turn the running game around because you have to run the ball effectively this week. If you guys can't and you try to leave it into the passing game, I am very scared at that point because anything can happen at that point. The Raiders have to run the ball effectively this week. And defensively, keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. Max, do your thing. Spillane, do your thing. Trayvon Moehrig, by the way, great performance. And great start to his season so far. He has been playing exceptionally well compared to what he was last year. I think they found his calling. I think they found out what he's more comfortable with, and he looks like a different ball player. He has 2 interceptions on the year. He's just doing everything he can to make this defense better. And that's exactly when I had him slotted going to Baltimore in the first round when he came out. This is the type of safety I expected him to be. Center field, ball hawking, turnover, important tackling. He's doing great. I am very proud that he has been able to turn around. But the defense you have to keep doing. John Jenkins, one of the most underrated signings this defense did. He has to keep doing what he's doing. Malcolm Koonce, keep doing what you're doing. Tyree, you have to keep playing. You got to keep playing. You can't be another body out there. You got to keep playing. Divine Diablo, Robert Spillane, keep doing your thing. And also, the secondary, just keep doing your thing. And hopefully Nate Hobbs is able to come back because I think Jacorian Bennett you could see that the talent is there and the heart is there, but it's just the play's not there yet. The heart is, but he's just not there yet. And Amik, keep doing your thing, man. And, Tyler Hall, a great addition. So, again, keys to this game, the Raiders offensively, they have to run the ball effectively this week. Because if they do not, it is going to be a very long day. And it's going to be one of those days where anything can happen at this point. Defensively, keep doing what you're doing. Keep the pressure on. Keep getting the sacks. keep getting the stops and everything that's most important. And just keep doing what you're doing in special teams, minus that Monday night game for Daniel Carlson. I still think we have one of the better kicker punter duos in the NFL. When we punted that ball at the end of the fourth and we pinned them very deep in their field, and you could just see how it was just a different feeling. That's the sign of helping your defense out. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. But overall, this has to be a game where the Raiders have to make a statement, not just on the win column, but on the running game on the running column. They have to run the ball effectively this week. It's not that I'm saying I don't trust Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell, but I don't want to leave that to chance. Because at that point, anything can happen. A bad throw, a bad read. Should the Raiders be able to control the line of scrimmage on both ends, run the ball, and stop the quarterback, I think we're looking at a position where we can walk out of Chicago 4-3. They have to walk out 4-3. They have to come back to Allegiant, beat the Giants, finish 5-3, and then go from there. You get a fresh start. You get a very fresh start. And you could possibly turn your season around with how the rest of the division is going. Kansas City is great. Let's be real. As long as you have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, they're going to be great. But that does not mean they're not unbeatable. Because they make mistakes too. The Raiders have a chance to salvage their season. But it has to start by winning these games that they're supposed to win. Run the ball. Stop them. Contain them. Special teams, keep doing your thing. I truly believe the Raiders are on something here where maybe they could turn things around. And maybe they get a little confidence, like Matt Millen said. The great equalizer. Confidence. Once you get that, it changes your attitude. It changes everything. I really hope things change for the Raiders this Sunday. It has to change for the Raiders this Sunday. Run the ball, but not just run it for running it. Run it effectively. Get after these guys. So there it is. But other than that, that's going to do it for today's show, folks. I want to thank you all for watching in today. As always, you could tune in Tuesdays, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time for the Silver and Bro Show. I am always here. Tomorrow I will be on with Brandon as we will do our Week 7 Pick'em show. We are excited to bring you. We are almost at the halfway point of the football season. It's just coming and going just like that. And, Week 7 is up slate for tomorrow. So as always, thank you guys very much. Have you guys yourself a wonderful night. Until then, take care of yourselves. Peace.